we have admits us Srimad Swami Atmapriyananda Maharaj. He is a professor of physics by professional training. No, he is actually a professor of metaphysics by the vocation that he has chosen to. He is the Vice-Chancellor of Vivekananda University, as it's popularly known, Swami Vivekananda Education and Research Institute in Kolkata. It is a multi-campus facility trying to mold youth along the lines of how Swami Vivekananda wanted youngsters to grow up. I'd like to now request Srimad Swami Atmapriyananda Maharaj to share his thoughts on cultivating an illumined mind, a matured mind, urgent relevance in the modern age of science. Swamiji.
Mohan always talks about 18 minutes. I was wondering what is the magic number? And it's divisible by 9. He said 9 slides, 18 minutes. It's a kind of a mystification of everything, which will, why 18? So as is customary, we begin with a peace chant, a Chanting Mantra. And I will begin with the Chanting Mantra, which is very relevant for the youth. You know, Rishis, the ancient seers, were well built, they're extremely physically healthy, they ate very nutritious food. You know, pictures we see Rishis emaciated and famished. No, they were extremely powerful people. Look at Vishwamitra and look at Vasishtha. So there is a beautiful Chanting Mantra in the Samaveda. It is prefixed and suffixed to Kenopanishad, which begins by saying that all your limbs should be strong. You should be extremely powerful and you should be energized by the power of the Supreme Spirit. And most interestingly, this is the mantra with which a brahmachari who is ordained to sannyasa is initiated by the Guru. I tell the secret. Some of you may later on embrace sannyasa if God wills. So this will be the mantra with which you will start. First, your limbs should be strong, your eyes should be powerful. Before you begin spirituality, your body, your mind and your limbs, all of them, the senses should be strong. Swami Vivekananda said that most of the problems of India come from physical weakness. Nayamatma balahinena labhyaha. It's a statement in the Mundaka Upanishad. Vivekananda interpreted it by saying even physical weakness will not lead a person to the realization of the Atman. His very dear disciple, Sharat Chandra Chakravarti, told him, but Shankara does not say that. Swamiji thundered, let Shankara say what he says. But I say that a person who is physically weak will not be able to realize the self. Look at our sports, Olympics, or Asian Games. We have all the talent, but we are physically weak. Swamiji told the youth of India, be physically strong, mentally powerful, and spiritually be awakened. So unless you have physical strength, then the Atman cannot be realized. So I begin with this Chanting Mantra. Om apyayantu mamangani vak pranas chakshusrotramatho balamindriyani cha sarvani sarvam brahmopanishadam maham brahma nirakuryam ma brahma nirakarot anirakaranamastvanirakaranam mestu tadatmani nirateya upanishatsu dharmaste mayi santu Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat. So when I was asked to talk about what kind of Vedantic inputs the youth will have in order to manifest the potential divinity or the perfection within them, I thought of the ancient Indian education. Swamiji repeatedly emphasized the Guru Grihavasa, living with an illumined Guru in close contact. And what does a Guru do? He doesn't teach at all. That's the Swamiji also said, if I had any say in the education, And if I had to go through the whole thing over again, I will not teach any content at all. I'll only teach the students, the youth, the children, how the mind could be awakened, how the mind could be illumined, and with such an awakened mind, they will be able to gather facts and information just at will. It is just like saying in the modern parlance, nowadays nobody reads books. All of you know this. You have the iPod, you have the Android, and you have, so you don't carry hardcover, paperless office, cashless transactions, everything is less, not more. So exactly what Swami Vivekananda said was, as soon as the child goes to school, give him a scanner. With that, he'll be able to scan all the books and keep it in his brain. His brain and his mind should be awakened to be able to scan any book at will. You know the stories of Swami Vivekananda that appear to be extremely mysterious, somewhat magical, rather unbelievable. You know several stories. He went to the library. Every couple of days he used to borrow a book which is 500, 600 pages. And the librarian said, Swami, are you reading them or returning them without reading? Swami, I've read through everything. He used to say, in the beginning I used to read line by line, after para after paragraph, then page after page. When we were children, we were taught the alphabets. We used to read, and you as children, kuti kuti padikradhu solluvaar. You every line, every word, a child goes on struggling. Afterwards, you read through lines, and after some time, you can just know what is there. How much time does it take to scan a book of 600 pages? That's exactly Vivekananda did. Took the book, scan the whole thing, return it. And retain it in your brain. You create a folder, put it there. A small pen drive will contain about 100,000 books. You carry it in your pocket, that's it. So the human brain has extraordinary possibilities. Neuroscience people will tell you the possibilities that the human brain has, they have not been exhausted. They say even a genius like Einstein has used only a few percent of his brain. There is no limit to the extent of human brain and human mind. It is extraordinary. Then if mind is so vast, what about the spirit? Even the body, I was telling you yesterday, those of you who are here, a simple book on biology, physiology will tell you that a DNA has 100,000 coded messages. If the whole thing is decoded and a typist types the whole thing down, it will occupy 100,000 volume encyclopedia. There's one DNA. And we have trillions and billions of such DNA, and this entire hall will not be sufficient to declare the glory of half a dozen DNA, and you have such trillions of them, and sitting in this multiple cell system and crying, I'm weak, I'm small, this man is my enemy, I should kill him. Are we not ashamed? Even a book on biology will tell you, you don't have to go to science, you don't have the religion or spirituality. A book on biology will tell you how much is the possibility of the human body, not to speak of the mind. The body is so powerful, how it beautifully coordinates. I also used to wonder, when the tongue is moving inside the mouth, I speak so fast, how is it that the teeth are not biting the tongue? It's a great, isn't it a wonder? We don't wonder about small wonders. It's an extraordinary wonder how the tongue is able to negotiate so fast and the teeth is constantly cooperating. And even if the teeth bite the tongue, you don't knock off the teeth. Who do you punish? The teeth or the tongue? You don't punish both because the teeth is me and the tongue is also me. So the human body is such a tremendous wonder and the human mind is much more. Last days of his life, Swami Vivekananda was at Belur Mutt, very ill. He was trying to book the ticket for the Mahasamadhi as we book the rail tickets and the air tickets. He was booking the ticket online, got the almanac, 4th of July stopped. That's it. Shining volumes of Encyclopedia Britannica were purchased, 25 volumes. Belurmat did not have the necessary funds. They were quite poor. But the love of knowledge was so much that Vivekananda said we should have in our library all these volumes of the Encyclopedia Britannica. His dear disciple, once again, Sharachandra Chakravarti, who was very free with Vivekananda, asked him, Swami, it is impossible for a person to master these volumes in his lifetime. Swami says, what do you mean? I have finished 10 volumes, going through the 11th volume. You pick up any volume, ask any question. The disciple was testing the Guru, that was the Indian tradition. The Guru should be examined, tested. Sri Ramakrishna, the illustrious Guru of Swami Vivekananda, told him, test me as a money changer tests a coin. And watch me by the day and by the night. And then only you should accept me. And he was very glad to be tested. So this disciple took out volumes at random, 6th volume, 4th volume, opened a page at random, asked questions. It is reported Swami Vivekananda not only answered the questions, on several occasions exactly quoted the very words which are in that book. Then, as we normally usually say, his disciple said, Swami, this is superhuman power. It's not possible for us. Indians have a peculiar way of worshipping people and not following them. There's a clever way of bypassing the strenuous task of following spiritual or intellectual people. You simply put him on the pedestal, put some flowers, Jai Vivekananda Ji ki Jai. You don't read a single book of Vivekananda. Swamiji therefore said on one occasion, don't worship me. If anybody does arati to me, I will go become a ghost and break his neck. So when we do arati and Belurmat on the special occasions of Vivekananda's birthday, the pujari is mortally afraid when Vivekananda will break his neck. Which means we bypass strenuous effort by saying Vivekananda is so great, he is not a human being, he is a godly person, and therefore his efforts are not for us. We are so small, so simple, and we will only follow him to the extent of doing worship and having prasada. So Swami just said, immediately thundered, don't say that. Every one of you has this possibility. Only you have not attempted it, you have not tried to manifest it. There are several such occasions. Once he was in the West, the America, the cowboys. Cowboys were very strange people who used to ride on the horses and wear what we call the jeans pant. You know jeans pant much more than we do. I asked the boy, it was torn all over. I said, it's all torn. No, you don't know. The more it is torn, the more costly it is. A jeans pant, if it's torn in several places, it's supposed to be extremely expensive. That's the culture which we have inherited from America. Whatever cowboys were extraordinarily good shooters, gunsmen. They were playing a game. Eggshells were floating on the river and they have to shoot at the eggshells. Eggshells are extremely light and the current of the river is so fast. Every time they failed. You need a little of physics for that. By the time the bullet emerges from your gun, what will be the time taken for the bullet to reach there? By the time where this eggshell would have moved, they were failing every time. Swami Vivekananda was looking at them and derisively laughing. Then they got furious. Do you think it is easy? Can you try it? Swamiji smiled, I can. He took the gun every time he shot. How many years have you been practicing, sir? So the first time I'm touching a gun. How was it possible? I told my mind, shoot, and it did. The idea being, your mind, your body should be your master. Our young people constantly complain, we have no freedom. Our parents are controlling us. In Tamil Nadu is much better because you are all obedient people. The place I come from in Bengal, turbulent all the time revolting. We don't have freedom. All of you are keeping us like slaves. I said, plenty of freedom you have. You have freedom to improve yourself, freedom not to waste your time, freedom to observe purity, but you will not have any freedom to spoil yourself. You will not have any freedom to waste your time. If you need that kind of freedom, the door through which you entered is still open for you to leave. Swami Ramakrishna ji, the illustrious disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, to whom we owe everything of the Ramakrishna movement of the southern part of India, said, there are two kinds of freedom. Freedom of the senses and freedom from the senses. Do you need freedom of the senses or freedom from the senses? The senses are clamoring for freedom. The eye says, come on, see. The ear says you should hear everything. The tongue, of course, constantly clamoring for good food. The senses want freedom, but if you want freedom from the senses, you come to religion. He said, politics is freedom of the senses. Religion is freedom from the senses. This is Swami Ramakrishna, this definition of politics and religion. Vivekananda demonstrated every time. Another occasion, the cowboys again challenged him. You talk about the immortality of the soul, the fearlessness, the Atman. Can you take a challenge? What was the challenge? It's terrible. You stand here, they improvised a kind of platform. You stand here, we will shoot at you. And they were extraordinarily good shooters, and the bullets will whiz past your ears. And you should stand there, fearless, and speak about Atman, about the Indian spirituality for about an hour. Swamiji said, yes, he took the challenge. Bullets were simply whizzing past his ears. He simply stood there, motionless, and spoke for an hour. Then they said, you are our guru. They took him on the shoulders and went round. So he visibly demonstrated the power of the human mind. What kind of mind? There is a lower mind and a higher mind, the Bhagavad-Gita talks about. There is a remarkable verse in the Bhagavad-Gita, 6th chapter. Young people should know something about the Gita. Do you read the Gita sometimes? I suppose there's a book called the Bhagavad-Gita exists. It is not for religious people, old people, it's for young people. Arjuna was quite young when he was instructed in the teachings of the Bhagavad-Gita. 6th chapter, the Dhyana Yoga, has a wonderful verse which says, you raise yourself by yourself. Do not demean yourself, because you are your friend and you are your enemy. Uddhared atmanatmanam natmanam avasadayet atmaiva hyatmano bandhuhu atmaiva ripuratmanaha. This is one lesson I want to give to the youth of this assembly. Never blame anybody. I was so good. That boy spoiled me. This situation spoiled me. No, you spoil yourself or you do not spoil yourself. It's your choice is yours. You are grown up. You are young. Uddhared atmana atmanam. The higher mind should rescue your lower mind. The lower mind constantly clamors for the senses. The higher mind says you can't have it. You have heard of Norman Vincent Peale? He always talked about positive thinking all his life, wrote books. There is one article which he wrote, which was published in the Reader's Digest. Swami Bhajanananda pointed out to me, the power of the positive no. Sometimes there are situations in which you should tell your mind no, and that should be a positive no. I have exams tomorrow, and my friend is asking me to go for a movie. I shall say no, I shall not go. And it shall be positive. Very often we have a very weak no. Hey, come on, let's go. Classes are so boring, let's go and watch a movie. Well, no, I will not go. It's a very weak no. And after some time when you are pushed, you simply yield. The power to be able to stick through your conviction and say no, that should be developed in your mind. Where to say no and where to say yes is also important. My teacher, I studied in the Vivekananda college here in Madras. When we went to class 11, in those days the pre-university was there. Immediately after class 10, we had to go to the university. He wrote 2 sentences on the blackboard. I remember even now, after nearly 55 years. He wrote there on the board, these two sentences should guide you. Why should I? Why not I? To be able to ask this right question in the correct situation will save you. Everybody is avoiding classes and going for movies. You ask yourself, why should I? Nowadays everybody says, oh, this is nothing, there's no harm in it. Everybody does it. You must have heard, everybody may do it, but I shall not do it. Why should I do it? There's a critical situation. One of your friends has fallen ill. He has to be taken to the hospital. Everybody says, no, I don't have the time. Why not I? Why should I? Why not I? Ask this question, right question. Later on, I realized this comes from the Bhagavad-Gita, where the Bhagavan says, the Sattviki Buddhi, about which I'll talk very briefly now, the Sattviki Buddhi, the intelligence which has become Sattvik, extremely illumined, that knows when you should do what. This is called Pravrittim cha nivrittim cha karya karye bhaya bhaye bandham moksham cha yaveti buddhis sa partha sattviki. O Partha, Arjuna, that buddhi is a sattviki buddhi which knows pravritti and nivritti, when you should do certain things, when you should not do certain things, karya and akarya, which should be done, which should not be done, and bhaya and abhaya, where you should be fearless and where you should always be fearful. Swami Vivekananda said, be fearless. Sharada Devi, the Holy Mother said, bhaye bhaye thakta hai, jar ache bhay tar hoy joy. In Bengali, it means you should always be afraid. A person who is afraid always wins. Now, you reconcile these two statements? You should know when you should be afraid. Suppose a gang of people who are addicted to certain things try to pull you, don't show bravado there. You will be simply sucked in. There you avoid. No, I shall not. So there should be afraid. You should be afraid of doing the wrong thing. You should be afraid of getting into immoral things. You should be afraid of doing things which will bring down your dignity as a human being. Na atmanam avasadayet. Don't lower yourself. Bandham moksham jayaveti buddhissa partha sattviki. Which is bondage and which is freedom. Our young boys sometimes complain we don't have the freedom. Actually, you have so much of freedom to improve yourself, because a person who happily, joyfully embraces outer bondage will always grow inwardly. Several boys tell us, you Swamis have gotten into terrible bondage. You have an organization and every time you have to take permission from this person. You can't freely do things. I said, we have happily, voluntarily, joyfully accepted outer bondage so that we can have inner freedom. If you have outer freedom, your inner bondage will increase. Most of the remarkable books were written when people were in jail. Discovery of India was written by Jawaharlal Nehru when he was in jail. Because outwardly he had no freedom, so inwardly he grew. Some of the remarkable experiences of Rishi Aravinda were in jail. So I don't want to go to jail. So you jail your senses. Tell the senses you can't go out and dictate. What is the secret? Would you like to be a master or a slave? You tell me. Would you like to be a master or would you like to be a slave? Obviously you like to be a master. Master of what? You be a master of your own senses. Your senses dictate to you. There's a pleasant smell from outside, high tea. You're just looking at your watch, when will Swami stop? So your senses are dragging you outside. You tell the senses, you shall not. Come on, sit down, behave. You should be the master of yourself. Your senses, your body shall not dictate to you. I will be the master. A person who has mastered is called a Raja, he is a king. And a person who has mastered his own senses and the body is called a Maharaja. So all of us are called Maharaj. You know why? Because our kingdom is inwardly, and the inward kingdom is the greatest joy that we have. And therefore, the Sattviki Buddhi, the Illumined Mind, which I want to discuss very briefly, three traditions of yoga, Vedanta, and Buddhism. So the illumined mind is called the right mindfulness, the right vision, Samyak Drishti, and it's also called Dhi in Vedanta and Pragyaloka in the yogic tradition. I'll stick to the Vedantic tradition only for the moment. So when a boy or a girl used to go to school, even girls had this privilege. They were given a small mantra by the Guru, which is the gift of a scanner. The Guru says, I will not teach you anything and not give you books, I will give you a scanner on how to use it. With this, any book which comes to you can be scanned and remembered. The scanner is a small mantra called the Gayatri Mantra, which is the most famous mantra given by the Guru to a disciple or a student just at the time of the beginning of education. This mantra, the last portion, Dhiyo yo na prachodayat. Dhi is a very important faculty, and the plural of Dhi is Dhiya. Interestingly, all the words in Sanskrit connected with wisdom and knowledge are all feminine. There is no masculine intelligence. Dhi is feminine. Vidya is feminine. Buddhi is feminine. Pragya is feminine. And Saraswati is the goddess which presides over all knowledge. So this wisdom, called the Dhi, is a very interesting faculty for which we should go to the next slide. Oh, this is, by the way, I wanted to show this to you. 1920, W.B. Yeats poignantly wrote, things fall apart, the center cannot hold, mere anarchy is loosed upon the world, the blood-dimmed tide is loosed and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst is full of passionate intensity. Exactly what is happening now. The best lack conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. Why does it happen? Things fall apart, the center cannot hold. Next one. So this comes from the Panchakosha. Most of you must have known this. The kosha, exactly the word is used by Shankara, but the Upanishad themselves do not use the word kosha anywhere. Taittiriya Upanishad talks about Atma, Annamaya Atma, Pranamaya Atma, Manomaya Atma, Vijnanamaya Atma, Anandamaya Atma. The kosha word is used only one place in Taittiriya Upanishad, Brahmana koshosi medhaya pihitaha. That is used in an entirely different context. To suit his philosophy, Shankara changed the Atma into kosha, but let us stick to the original Upanishad. Atma means the self. Now, we talk about the Atma as something, a spiritual entity. The Upanishad said every one of the dimensions of the human being is an Atma, a 5-layered human personality. My advice to the youth is, stick to a certain paradigm. It could be Tantra, it could be Vedanta, it could be Yoga, but the most beautiful and the safest paradigm that Swami Vivekananda gave us is, the Vedantic paradigm. The Vedantic paradigm has this Pancha Atma, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. The body itself has its own sensitivity. The neuroscientists now say the body itself tells you what you should do and what you should not do. It has its own sensitivity. Then you have the Pranamaya, which is in between the manas and the body. Who feels hungry? Who feels thirsty? It's not the body. Body is jada. The Atman, the spirit, does not feel hungry. There is something in between called Prana, which feels hungry. You say Pranaya Swaha, Apanaya Swaha, and so on. And the manas, which is full of thoughts. And the fourth dimension, what we will emphasize now, is called the Vijnanamaya. Next one. I have compared it with the Shat Chakra of the Vedas, of the Tantra. Will let us skip that. Next one. Now, the Vedanta, the idea of Dhi is the Vijnanamaya. So, your role as youth in education, spiritual education or secular education, is somehow to awaken this Dhi through prayer, through brahmacharya, and through concentration. When we talk about purity and brahmacharya, everybody gets flabbergasted. It is very simple. It simply says you have to control your senses. Your senses are outgoing and senses are constantly scattered out. You can't focus on anything, least of all. How do you do that? You should have a tremendous abiding interest. I always used to give this example. Some boys say, we can't concentrate. Concentration level is very low. Then I said, suppose you have watching a match, India-Pakistan, the Kurukshetra war. Their cousins fighting. World Cup final, 6 balls, 10 runs. Should anybody tell you, concentrate on the television screen? Your whole heart is drawn there. So Christ said, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. You love something, then you constantly, the mind will flow. When you awaken your higher consciousness, which is the Dhi, then you have a mind which is illumined. In that illumined mind, impressions will immediately be registered. It is just like you awaken the technique of the photographic technique. When you switch it on, immediately whatever you click, it is immediately retained. So this illumined mind, which is called superconscious, the way to superconsciousness, what we now are, Vedanta will see we are not conscious at all. We are in the unconscious state. Consciousness first begins with the awakening of the Dhi, which is called prajna in yoga. The prajna is called the light of consciousness, prajna aloka. Just like people go for mining, they have a hat in which a light is fixed. The light guides their way. From the heart, the prajna aloka, the light of consciousness will guide you through life. Next one. The Buddhistic, I have compared it with the Buddhistic idea of the Vipassana. Vipassana idea of mindfulness and awakened state of consciousness. Next one. In the modern relevance, Swami Vivekananda said, the theme of the seminar, manifestation of the potential divinity and the potential perfection. You have it already, the Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya and Anandamaya, they are there with you. They are priceless possessions. Only you have not awakened to the higher level. We are moving in the Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya all the time. And if you are intellectual, it means that you have read a lot of books. That is not the intellectuality. A real intellectual awakening comes when you are awakened the Vijnanamaya. And therefore, these are potentially there for you, only you have to awaken them, the potential awakening of the divinity. Next one. So I will end with this. Albert Einstein, our great hero in science, he said, my religion consists of a humble adoration of an illimitable intelligence which our dull faculties can comprehend in the most primitive form. He also said, the most profound and the most sublime emotion one can have is the sensation of the mystical. It is truly the power of all science. He to whom this emotion is a stranger, who can no longer stand and wonder in rapt awe, is as good as dead. To know what is impenetrable really exists, manifesting itself with the highest wisdom and the most radiant beauty, which our dull faculties can comprehend in the most primitive form, this feeling, this awareness is the center of all religiousness. And he ended by saying, this cosmic, religious or mystical consciousness is truly the mainspring of all scientific research. In this sense, and in this sense only, I am a most devout religious person. Look at the remarkable statement which comes very close to Vedanta. Thank you.
Thank you, Swamiji. You brought out the remarkable nature of Swami Vivekananda in being so scientific and spiritual, and bringing out the immense possibilities, infinite possibilities that each one of you are capable of.